To arrive at the Combine on Tuesday. Their on-field workouts slated for Saturday. The one guy we will not see throw in Indy, we know, is Shedeur Sanders. The Colorado quarterback considered to be one of the top two players at his position available in April's draft. And while he won't work out, he will be meeting with teams in Indianapolis. And not working out at the Combine has become, well, sort of a thing for the top prospects lately. The last 5 quarterbacks taken first overall in the NFL draft did not work out at the Combine. The last one was actually Baker Mayfield back in 2018. As we welcome you all to NFL Live, I'm Hannah Storm. We got a full house today. Mina Kimes, Ryan Clark, Tim Hasselbeck, and Matt Miller. And Matt, we do have some of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Guys like Josh Allen and Justin Herbert, C.J. Stroud, they all worked out at the Combine. Walk us through this decision and what your perspective is on Sanders not doing so.
Yeah, Hannah, it's not a huge surprise that Shedeur Sanders has opted to not throw at the Combine because we just saw him 1 month ago show up to the East-West Shrine game and not participate there as well after saying he would be. So this is kind of the method that they're going with this offseason for Shedeur Sanders. And as you mentioned, it has become par for the course for top quarterbacks to not throw the Combine. However, the point that I would make is Shedeur Sanders is not the top quarterback in this year's draft. That's Miami's Cam Ward. And the fact is this quarterback group is very unsettled. We don't have a number one quarterback like we did last year with Caleb Williams, even maybe the year before with Bryce Young, where he felt like the number one guy throughout the entire process. This is a wide open race for the number one quarterback spot in the 2025 NFL draft. And this is a second opportunity now with the East-West Shrine game where Shedeur Sanders has said, I'm good. I'm going to wait till the next event. So all pressure now is on that Colorado Pro Day. Personally, I'm not a fan of this. I think you take every opportunity given to you to prove that you're the guy. We heard in the soundbite him saying, I'm going to be the guy. Go show that you are. C.J. Stroud threw at the Combine. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. We saw 3 guys who were first-round picks last year throw at the Combine, and it improved their stock. So if Shedeur Sanders' camp would have asked me a week ago, I would have said, this is an opportunity to prove he's better than Cam Ward, to prove he's better than Jackson Dart, to prove he's better than whoever the hot quarterback of the moment is. Maybe it's Tyler Shuck, maybe it's Quinn Ewers from Texas. But this was an opportunity that I think Shedeur and his camp are really missing out on, where he could show that he is that number one quarterback in this class.
Yeah, I disagree. I think everything about Shedeur Sanders and all the talk surrounding him from the time he got to Colorado, maybe even Jackson State, has been pushing this narrative that this kid needs to be more or do more or be different than any other quarterbacks have because he is different. Maybe it's his last name. Maybe it's the way that he speaks. Maybe it's the way that he moves around that people don't like from the outside. But whoever threw at the Combine last year, it certainly didn't push their stock ahead of someone like Caleb Williams, who didn't throw, someone like Jayden Daniels, who didn't throw. Hell, Joe Burrow, who I obviously know was in a different position than Shedeur Sanders is, didn't throw at all, obviously because of COVID. So he didn't throw at the Combine. He didn't have a pro day. It worked out well for him. Shedeur Sanders and Deion Sanders and their camp are going to make decisions based on what they feel is best for him. And so many times we see some of these quarterbacks be more comfortable with throwing at their home pro day, throwing to the wide receivers that they know and maximizing their opportunities that way. And so I'm not going to come on this show and be different with Shedeur Sanders than I was with Caleb Williams, be different with Shedeur Sanders than I was with Jayden Daniels. It's a decision that he's make. He'll have an opportunity to be evaluated firstly by the film in the interview session and then his pro days and private workouts if teams choose to do so.
Yeah, I just don't think it's surprising to see a guy who's, projected to go, just let's be conservative, first half of the first round. Like, it doesn't often make sense for those guys to throw. And I think some of the guys that we've had on the list, that have thrown in the past, like, they can throw in anything. Like Josh Allen can throw anywhere at any time, and it's not going to matter. And I think you'd say the same thing with certain other players. And that's not to be critical of, guys that aren't throwing, but they just aren't assured that they are going to throw great every time they go out and throw, especially in an environment that they're not controlling themselves. And so, I think when it comes down to it, like from a team evaluation perspective, sure, they would love to see you do it. But from a player perspective, if you cannot do it and it won't impact where you get drafted or at what level you get drafted, then it really doesn't make sense to do it. Like, I just remember being at the Giants, and Eli always joked about how, like, he had never been timed in a 40 ever in his entire life. Like, guess what? Like, that wasn't by accident, okay? And so, like, the reality is, like, a similar thing can happen, when you're talking about throwing.
Yeah, I completely understand why he's not doing it. Throwing at the combine is no longer a must. You do it, as Tim pointed out, if you have the utmost confidence in your arm strength and your arm talent. The quarterbacks that have been named who did do it over the years, a lot of them were guys with stronger arms. And I don't think Sanders has much to gain from doing it in that environment where you're just being compared to other players in this one metric. And really, I don't see how that benefits him in the pre-draft process. I will say, though, it does, to me, highlight the discrepancy between him and Ward to some degree, which isn't to say Ward's throwing, but rather the difference in arm strength and arm talent, which is just my biggest question mark about Sanders. He is accurate. He is smart. He does not have a cannon. Now, you can make up for that in the NFL with anticipation and accuracy, but what it means is that the margin for error you have is smaller because you're not able to compensate for, to make problems right solely with your arm. So I don't think this was a must for Sanders, but to me it does highlight, or at least draw into question, what I personally believe is his biggest weakness.
Oh, it's definitely not a must. You're 100% right there, Beta. And he will still be drafted probably in the top 7 picks. And again, it's become the norm for guys not to do it. My stance is this is a missed opportunity to leapfrog a Cam Ward or to put more distance between yourself and those other quarterbacks. Jackson Dart, Tyler Shuck, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe. Those guys are all going to be throwing, we anticipate. So it's more about, can you put that distance between yourself? And Ryan mentioned Caleb Williams didn't throw last year. J.J. McCarthy did, and I think that helped him. Bo Nix did, and it definitely helped. And the guy that helped more than anyone last year was Michael Penix Jr., who has a much bigger arm than Shedeur Sanders. But, Shedeur's trademark, like his business card as a quarterback, he's accurate as all get out. He's surgical. C.J. Stroud was the same way and put on one of the best throwing performances ever at the Combine. And I do think it helped separate him from Will Levis and Anthony Richardson. So is it a must? Is he going to fall down my board because he's not throwing this week? Absolutely not. But it is a missed opportunity for him to make up some ground with the guy, Cam Ward, who is right now the consensus #1 quarterback.
Yeah, and obviously he is going to throw and work out at Colorado's Pro Day, and that'll be a popular one. Travis Hunter there as well. By the way, the date on that is not set yet. All right, we have some more Combine news. This is new on NFL Live. Adam Schefter tweeting, another top prospect will not participate in the Combine this week. Penn State's Abdul Carter will not work out due to a shoulder injury. That's according to his agents, Drew Rosenhaus and Drew Bailey. He will, however, partake in interviews and physical exams in Indy. All right, another top story. Could the Rams and Matthew Stafford be headed for a breakup? The team has given his agent, Jimmy Sexton, permission to assess the 37-year-old Super Bowl winner's value from teams that might be interested in him. Stafford is due $27 million, well below the median of the quarterback market in 2025. His cap hit, however, is close to $50 million, and that's top 5 overall in the NFL. Just by way of reference, here is a look at the highest paid players in NFL history. No surprise, they're all quarterbacks. Just 2 of the top 11 signed their deal at age 32 or older. Aaron Rodgers at age 38, the Packers back in 2022, Russell Wilson at age 33 to the Broncos that same year. And as you know, they have both moved on from those teams. RC, I'm curious what you think of how Les Snead and the Rams are handling this situation.
I think Les Snead and the Rams are handling this situation correctly. Obviously, if Matthew Stafford is in Los Angeles next year, you're going to have to redo his deal. But how much do you redo his deal for? So it's just a way of saying, hey, man, we appreciate you.